What's happening, Wargamers? Welcome to the Meditations for our latest game of Star Wars Shatterpoint. And in typical fashion, it was a very resounding victory for Jason here, 2 struggles to 1. I think what really happened there is the big moment. The big moment for you was when you were able to take all 3 struggles, or all 3 points in your last struggle.
Yeah, being able to kind of come into the final round where everything on my board was wounded, and then flipping up the Magna Guards, which at first I thought was bad, but then I realized
it was the exact one you needed. Yeah, it was the exact one you needed.
Yeah, like they were kind of a perfect pull there, and the worst part is I almost reserved them. But they allowed me to have a really strong presence on the middle, even though I didn't score it, and take both of the sides, and you just couldn't touch the sides for the rest of the struggle.
I mean, I was hoping that Taliesin was going to be able to get in and maybe do something mean to the Magna Guard, and just really didn't, and I couldn't really recover.
Yep.
Right? Like, it just, unfortunately, I didn't have the damage output for it. Meanwhile, like, Grievous was just mulching things.
Grievous was doing great. The one time he didn't do quite what he needed to, I was able to have the battle droids follow up because they can always do that. I just wasn't doing it earlier.
Yeah, like, and the fact that it's just a free follow-up is just...
Yeah, within 3, they get to dash and then make an attack, 5-dice attack targeting the same enemy.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous there, but, I mean, that is Confederacy for you. They have some absolutely obscene synergies kicking around, right?
And I think ultimately we do have to factor in that while we were both playing a very fluffy narrative list, because we were trying to build a narrative here.
Your fluff was a lot harder.
My fluffy narrative list
your
was
fluff had a rock
competitively...
in it. Yeah, your fluff had a rock in it.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, looking back on my list, I brought the Super Commandos kind of to be a little bit fluffy, but unfortunately, like, they really didn't do much for me.
And they only had 1 turn, and they did what they needed to on that turn, but...
I feel like if it was the Night Owls, they might have been able to, like, throw some conditions on someone else, but yeah, that's the other thing. Like, we only got, 9 card flips?
So I am 3 cards through the second one, so it's 10.
Yeah, you got 10 card flips, I got 9 card flips, so this was a very fast game.
Yeah.
Like, no, very fast.
I mean,
game.
we noted after Struggle 1 that it was like, I think we weren't through the first deck. We started the first deck at the start of Struggle 3.
Yeah, I think we were only like 5 activations into Struggle 1, right?
Yeah, for what it's worth, that means Struggle 3 you activated twice, I activated 3 times.
Yeah, like it wasn't very much at all, and I mean, you pulling that Shatterpoint card, you had very much a downhill path to victory on that one. The Shatterpoint card basically just said, it's yours,
the Shatterpoint was like almost anything I could have pulled there at that point. Like Kalani or Kraken get me the point.
Yeah,
B1s get me the point. What's my last card? Dooku actually would have been the worst card, but I could have just reserved them.
Yeah, I honestly think that, like, as much as I like Taliesin and Savage, I think I needed like the Night Sisters, or I needed the Super Commandos to activate.
You need some of the things that can get on more than 1 point, right?
Yeah, and that was kind of where I was struggling here. Asajj going down, so I was hoping she'd take the point a little bit longer than what she did.
She got slapped a little by Kalani early, and then she got finished off by, actually, I think Grievous finished her off.
Yeah.
Which, like, yeah, unfortunately, that's part of the problem with Asajj, is she's just not very durable. She dies to a stiff breeze, I find, a lot of the time. Yeah. She's got an okay defensive line, but only having 9 health hurts her a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, she's fine. But her going down so fast really kind of hurt. I will say, regardless of the outcome of the game, I actually was very impressed with both Taliesin and the Night Sister Acolytes.
Yes, they seem to do fairly well. Savage didn't quite get a time to shine here, really, but I also
I mean, he punched a Magna Guard really, really hard.
That's true. So. And I mean, having a secondary that can hit for, 6 to 8 damage relatively consistently is solid.
I have to admit, I kind of wish instead of Asajj I had Maul.
That's fair. I think Maul would have been probably better here. Yeah,
I think it would have been a very different game, because with Maul, I would have pulled your people off the point, exposed them, and just done a whole bunch of damage. And
that's the big thing with Maul, is he's a much more intimidating presence in the middle of the board. I mean, to be fair to Asajj here, she did only get to activate once.
And unfortunately, one of the biggest beat sticks happened to activate right after her. And
she activated and then got shot by Kalani, and then got murdered by Grievous.
Kalani hits way above his weight.
Oh, and that's what we were saying all game, is that Kalani and Kraken are both throwing out casual 7, but honestly, most of the time it's going to be 8-dice attacks, and that's absurd for all of the other things that those models are already doing.
Yeah, no, it's weird. And I had some great attrition. Like, I'm looking over your thing, I see 6 wounded tokens, 6 wounded/injured tokens on there, right?
Yeah, I mean, you went into Struggle 3, I only had Dooku awake. Everyone else was down.
Man, going into Struggle 3, Dooku is who I wanted you to activate. Like, I was hoping you would just reserve Dooku, but
yeah,
Dooku is who I wanted to see because Dooku gave me a lot of breathing room. Instead, the Magna Guard woke up and you just take everything.
Well, and the best part is the only reason why I went with the Magna Guards because I didn't want to risk flipping Dooku afterwards if I reserved them.
I do remember you saying that, yeah.
So
you had a great strain of just who was waking up, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of your guys were just like they were on point. You were getting who you needed most often than not. I don't think I necessarily got nailed by the card order in my case, but it was a lot harder for me to respond.
I will say having for droids it's a little different, but for most things I think you want to be able to see the supports, the 2 model things come up a little bit earlier in the deck.
yeah.
So
and neither my Night Sisters or my Super Commandos happened early on.
Well, and the Super Commandos being your very last activation was unfortunate as well, because like we pointed out, they didn't really get to do anything, and I don't think it mattered what unit they were. They weren't going to get to do much on that turn.
No, they really weren't. So it was unfortunate. I kind of got nailed a little bit in that regard there, but I mean that's the nature of the deck. Unfortunately, it's really hard to mitigate it if you don't have abilities, and there's so few ways to actually mitigate that right now. Right?
No, I mean there's a couple, but nothing crazy. And when something that you want to activate relatively early starts on the bottom of the deck, there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah. One thing I really miss, I wish I was able to get the Night Sisters in earlier because then I would have been able to get a lot more exposes kicking around.
Well, and that was the other thing is once I wounded them, you suddenly became very tight on force for the rest of the game.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's very unfortunate. Also, going back on, I think I actually forgot with Talzin, not only does she activate a Dathomirian to move, but Savage would have also moved as well. I don't think it really makes a huge difference.
You still would have been able to get him where he wanted to be.
Yeah, like it's not a huge thing, but it's something I kept missing that trigger.
Potentially relevant.
Yeah, and it's you know what? In retrospect, Savage should not have gone this way. I should have just really gone to town on this one right here, because then I would have taken that point and that point.
That
would have been tied. That would have been tied. Yeah,
and that was the prio, which is why you did it. I actually thought about mentioning that exact play to you, and I was like, maybe
that's right. That's right.
For what it's worth, I also did the thing I always do where I completely forgot about combat AI protocols on the battle droids. It's not even a reactive, so it's free, but whenever any of my battle droids shot you, they were supposed to apply a straight or expose after the attack.
Yeah, no, that's fair. There's
terrible
so many
for
triggers in this game.
Well, and the droids have way too many of them. Yeah. I'm so bad with them.
That's one of the problems, like way too many synergies, right? But I don't want this to become just like a me griping about the game thing, because I think I've made a lot of my opinions kind of clear on it. Because I still do like the game. I think there's a lot of really cool to it. It's just right now it feels like some forces are just oppressively good.
And this was definitely for as I said before, as much as this was a thematic matchup, it was also a very meta list up against a list that was very, very fluffy. And
and I mean, what can we both talked about it beforehand. There's not a lot you could have done to change it to really make it less fluffy. Maybe Django instead of a tactical droid.
But the worst part about that is that would have been less fluffy. It would have been less meta.
And that's what I'm saying. We discussed it beforehand. We both agreed to the thing, and so that is kind of where we're at with it, right? Like, because we always have those discussions beforehand as well. We try to figure out some good stuff, and unfortunately, there's just only so many squads in the game at the moment.
And that's the big thing is that the tactical droids or Django are the only secondary options, and it turns out the tactical droids are extremely powerful.
Who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
So, but I think that's all we really need to say about it. I like the Dathomirian box. Savage, I mean, he didn't do a lot, but he also didn't disappoint.
No, he seemed like a solid model. He didn't quite get a chance to shine. Talzin seemed great.
I love Talzin.
Talzin was fantastic. The amount of passive healing she had too was fantastic.
Yeah, no, Talzin was a lot of fun to use.
Night Sisters seemed like they would have been good. They unfortunately were another one where they only really got to activate once, I think, so they didn't get a great chance to shine. But
that's where I wish Savage had been able to get up a little bit faster as well, because once the Night Sisters start attacking, shooting characters who are engaged with another Dathomirian, I add 2 dice to it.
Yeah.
Right? So that 6 dice attack all of a sudden becomes an 8 dice attack.
And that suddenly looks really good for a support unit.
Suddenly looks really great for it, right? Yeah. And that's the thing. I wasn't really able to bring a lot of my stuff to bear. And unfortunately, it kind of created a bit of a downhill effect for me. And it was hard to kind of roll back up for it. But, It is what it is. As usual, Jason, great game. Always have
Yes,
fun
for
rolling
sure.
dice with you, and look forward to the next time we can get down here and do this. Hopefully,
100%.
we see that new mission pack soon.
Yes, that would be sick.
Yeah, and they kind of hinted at Hondo coming with it, but they also kind of didn't hint. So
I'm also just excited to see Hondo in this game.
So am I. So am I. It's going to be a profitable endeavor, I'm sure. But anyway, that is that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Sound off below, and of course, if you want to support the channel, patreon.com/HSbrandstudios. We'll see you next time. Happy wargaming.